Okay, I think we're waiting for Board Member Perry, and Member Shaw is just getting coffee or tea. Not to call her out or anything. All right. So we are now on to, item 3.2, the strategic vision process. I am so excited about this item. I want to turn it over to the Chancellor, but welcome Sandra Freed, who's going to be making the presentation. But Chancellor Oakley, please give us some context. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. At the January meeting, I talked a bit about the opportunity to work with the foundation and reach out to not only members of the California Community College System, but constituents throughout the state of California to get an idea of where our Chancellor's office needs to position itself over the next 5 years to serve the needs of the state of California. And so the foundation has gone ahead and reached out to some very capable consultants, which Sandy will talk about. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to hear from them at the July board meeting, where they will come back with some information about what they've gathered from the various stakeholders across the state and various experts in the field of community college about where we're going over the next 5 years, in which hopefully will allow us the opportunity to have discussion, to plan for, and prepare items in collaboration with our constituent groups to address some of those challenges over the next several years. So with that, I will turn it over to Sandra Freed.
There we go. Can you hear me? Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning. I'm Sandy Freed. I'm the Executive Director of the Success Center at the Foundation. And as Chancellor Oakley mentioned, we are facilitating the strategic visioning process that he previewed for you at the January board meeting. We wanted to share the process with you today. It's going to result in a report that we'll bring you in July, and that report will include three things. It will include an articulation of a clear vision for the system's direction in the future. It will include recommendations for clear goals for the system based on California's needs, and it will identify promising opportunities and practices for reaching those goals. And as Chancellor Oakley also mentioned, we've engaged with some external consultants to help us with this work. They're here today. They are Amy Supinger and Camille Esch. They are very familiar with our system, and they are widely recognized as experts in higher education policy. And if you haven't met them, I want to introduce you there in the second row, waving. So Amy and Camille are gathering input from a wide variety of sources to help inform this process and ensure that we have breadth and depth supporting this work. This input is going to include four major efforts. It's going to include a review of relevant literature on community college reform and success, interviews with about 50 internal and external stakeholders and experts, previous surveys conducted by the Chancellor's office, including a recent comprehensive survey of college CEOs. And finally, we're hosting a virtual town hall that will begin today and run through May. That is an open invitation for all parties to provide input into the strategic visioning process. And I want to preview for you now the virtual town hall video.
In an effort to help steer the Chancellor's office and our Board of Governors over the next several years, we are in the process of developing an overarching strategic vision for the whole California Community College System. To that end, we will create a clear vision, identifying the direction we should take. We will specify very clear goals, as well as identify a number of promising ideas and opportunities for reaching those goals. Unique and exciting ideas like rolling out our own virtual town hall, allowing all of our stakeholders to have a voice and provide ongoing input on given issues. But for now, through the end of May, we are reaching out to all interested parties and asking some tough, thought-provoking questions, such as, what is the biggest challenge facing the California Community College System today? What is the most promising policy, program, or practice that you've come across in our system? Something perhaps that strikes you as a potential game changer if it could be scaled and implemented correctly. Is there anything about this particular moment in time that presents an opportunity for our colleges? Could the California Community College system do a better job of holding itself accountable? And if so, how specifically? Or even, how could the Chancellor's Office and the Board of Governors better support your work? Please help us in this important endeavor. It will dramatically influence the future of the whole California Community College system. Spend a few thoughtful moments on each of these concerns listed. Then send your responses to the email address below. I assure you, your feedback will be read carefully by our research team, consolidated, then used to influence the development of our strategic plan. Your opinions and input are crucial, helping us finalize the strategic vision in time for the Board of Governors meeting this July. I thank you in advance and sincerely look forward to the exciting times that we will all share ahead.
So first, I'd like to thank Vice Chancellor Feast for all of his help in producing that. You did a great job. Thank you very much, Paul. So as you could see from the video, we are asking targeted questions to help focus the input. This email address will be available to accept input beginning this week and will run through the end of May. And we would invite all of your comments to ensure we want to capture everyone's thoughts in this process. And we'll be aggressively promoting the virtual town hall through social media, through internal and external listservs, and the video will be shown on the Foundation's website. So I'll conclude by briefly walking through the timeline with you. As the Chancellor noted, he wanted a comprehensive report soon in order to ensure there's a clear vision in place as we can begin planning for 2018. So we'll be gathering this input through May, drafting the report in June, and having it to the Chancellor by July for presentation to the board. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
If I can just make one additional comment to what Sandy just mentioned, because I know, this will come up in the questions. What we are not going to do here is propose changes to the California Community College system. Those will come through recommendations, through opportunities, and if we do indeed make recommendations on either Title V changes or legislative efforts, those will go through our normal participatory governance process, and those will take on the life of their own. But what we wanted to do is make sure that we provide sort of a menu and a plate of what are the things that we should be considering as we go forward in our own internal planning.
Great. Okay, I have Board Member Shaw. Go ahead.
Yeah, can you help me to understand, is the vision going to be completed by July, or an update of the entire strategic plan?
The vision.
When will the plan be updated?
That's for...
So, Governor Shaw, we are not proposing that we begin the strategic planning process yet because we wanted to get this input to begin the plan. If we move forward with the strategic planning process, we will need to bring together all of the constituents, all of the stakeholders, and present a plan. So this is a strategic vision that will give us here an opportunity to think about where the system needs to be over the next 5 years. What are the challenges and opportunities? From that, there will be a series of recommendations that the Board of Governors will have to decide, and perhaps the hope is that when we get together in a retreat, this will be sort of a basis of what are some of those recommendations that we want to pursue, and then come back to you with plans for those recommendations.
And where are we with our current, what year are we in terms of our current strategic plan?
Se acabó. It's done. I think we've hit the end of, I think we hit the end of that timeline.
I see.
I believe that the time horizon ended in 2016, 17, but yeah, I got that. Yeah. So it's the right time to really be ramping this up again.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Board Member Reed?
My focus was some time ago, prior to Chancellor Oakley coming to the board, we spent quite a bit of time with Eric in reviewing some of the functions of the Board of Governors itself, and we've never had a follow-up to that. Would that be included in this exercise?
The answer to that question is yes, Governor Reed. one of the things that we hope to get out of this is where are there areas of leverage that the Board of Governors have in order to help us, whether it be changes, modifications, additions to Title V, practices, the structure of the Chancellor's office, the roles and responsibilities. I think all those things are on the table.
And the second part of my question focused on the video itself, because I thought it was very well done. But how do we plan on getting that video out to our colleges and through our system? How does that work?
So we're going to utilize the internal listservs that the Chancellor's office has to push this out. We're also going to push it out on social media. It will be displayed on the Foundation's website, and I'd also welcome any ideas that you all have as to groups that we can push this out to get a broad response.
Board Member Baum.
Thank you very much for the presentation, and thank you, Chancellor, for getting the ball rolling on this effort. As you know, during their search process, this was a priority for the Board of Governors. And it was a pleasure to meet you, Sandra, at the reception that we attended that in honor of the Chancellor that brought stakeholders from the business community, the education community, the social services community, the civil society community, who all expressed a great deal of enthusiasm and interest in where the community colleges are heading and support for our new leader. And which gets me to the point, as we do the assessment of our own system, to me, what's even more important is the assessment of our state. And where are the key challenges facing our state? The health of the people who live here, the vitality of our economic future, the fabric of our civic society that brings us all together. And how will that be woven into the process so that we can identify what the state needs, not just what our system needs, but then how the system can better advance the state as a whole in some of those areas?
That's a very important point and one of the priorities of this effort. So the stakeholders that we're interviewing include members from the business community, industry, philanthropic world, social justice, several external stakeholders as well. And it's also why we wanted to do the virtual town hall, was to get this out into the public and not just focused on, having town halls at physical community college locations. We thought this was a more convenient way for all Californians to weigh in on what they need from the community colleges.
Well, that's great, because I hope that we can marry the future of California with this effort. And I just have to say one thing. It made me feel very good when I see Amy Supinger as part of this process as well, because from the very beginning of my involvement with this system, Amy has been a leader in sometimes behind the scenes, sometimes in front, to moving the system forward. Nobody cares more deeply about the health and the future of the state system than Amy. And she, as many of you know, helped us pull together the Student Success Task Force and achieve those recommendations that have been so well received. Thank you.
Thank you. We're very fortunate that Amy and Camille were free to take this on for us, because it is a challenge to take on this broad of a review in a short period of time, and they're the right ones for the job.
Vice President Epstein.
Jeff's question just raised something for me, too. How are we dealing with the governor's office and the legislature in this process? Are we inviting their input early, or are we going to talk to them later? Or
Very good question. They are providing input early and often, and they're on our interview list. Yes, many members of the legislature and staff and administration.
Other questions? I just on the point of how to get out this video, I know we have our listservs and stuff, but I think, I don't know, Vice Chancellor Feast, if we're planning some sort of social media campaign, a Twitter party, as the deadline comes up, to really try to get this out at key moments, it might be helpful to use a variety of social media outlets to do that.
Thank you. Yes, we're planning to do that, and this is similar to a survey that was done a couple months ago when Chancellor Oakley first started, and we had a very good response for that. We had about 5,000 responses, so planning the same strategy.
So for what it's worth, I think if you were doing a coordinated Twitter campaign to drive people to this video, I mean, it would be great to do that. And I know some of the folks on this board have amazing accounts and I know the Chancellor has an incredible Twitter Twitter account, but it'd be nice to get this out to a lot of external folks as well. So
Absolutely.
please engage us, because I think we'd like to make sure that as not President Baum anymore, Board Member Baum was talking about, this is big. We are the linchpin for the whole, and I view, future of the workforce in the state of California. So we want to go outside the system to everybody who's invested in the future of the state. So let us know how we can help. Thank you. Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Sandy.
Thank you
it's
very
great to hear your
much.
presentation. So I want to look at my fellow board members and take a poll. We have yummy snacks that I think folks have been partaking of. We could go on to the state and federal legislative update with Vice Chancellor Mattoon, or we could break now and do an early lunch. My preference is to move on the state and federal legislative update, but I also don't want you guys to short shrift, not give her any attention because your stomach's growling. So what's the sense of the board? Do you want to keep moving?
What's your gut on the time for the rest of the meeting? Like, I'm fine powering through the whole thing.
You don't even want to break for lunch. We're breaking for lunch.
Break for lunch
Food is
after.
important. One thing for me is food is important. I think we're moving at a pretty good clip. In fact, I know we were looking at maybe trying to do our closed session during lunch so that we could be even more efficient towards the end of the day. So I think we will probably end well before 5 o'clock, Board Member Budnick, if we keep going at this clip. We're moving fast.
And Board President Solano, if we are going to move closed session, I think we just need to make sure that we are very clear to
That
the
we notice
public
it, right.
that we are going to reorder the agenda.
Right, I understand.
We have a question if we can make public comment before lunch, before we break for
Well,
lunch.
why
I
don't
think
we have 2 items for public comment. So let me just look at the sense of the board. You guys, public comment, and if it goes quickly, public comment, then lunch, then Laura. I think you're going to come after lunch, okay? And then Jake, I want you to make sure we're noticing it properly that we're going into closed session. So tell me whatever I need to say, or you can say it perhaps.
You can just announce that
Okay.
is reordering the agenda.
Okay.
We'll be having closed session over the lunch hour.
Okay, so we are reordering. So first, let's take public comment. That would be the public forum item on the agenda. And Vice President Epstein, I believe we have a couple of cards.
Dr. Janet Jackson. Jeanette Jackson.
We're going to resist the urge, right? We're looking for the dancers. Okay.
There's the Rhythm Nation.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for reordering the agenda. Chancellor Oakley, President Estelano, Vice President Epstein, Board of Governors, distinguished colleagues. My name is Jeanette Jackson, and I am the Chancellor of the Chabot Las Positas Community College District. And this year, we launched our first in-house professional development for our classified professionals. It is called CLIP, the Classified Leadership Institute for Professionals. And one of the things that they wanted to do was to attend a Board of Governors meeting. And so I have 9 of the 10 members standing behind me, and I'd like to just make quick introductions as I call your name in no particular order. If you would just kind of give a wave. Pedro Ruiz de Castellino, Estela Sanchez Garcia, Joanne Bishop Wilbur, William Bill Eddy, Rachel Ugali, Catherine Phil, Steve Smalley, Rachel Tupper, and Francis Dinesco. And this team started last year with a 3-day retreat. I was part of that retreat. And they have really been the leadership that you will see in the future. So take a good look at their faces. They are our future leaders. They have taken on different projects themselves, and they will be graduating as the inaugural class in March 30th of this year at the Chancellor's Award Luncheon. So thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you. Welcome. We hope we've been entertaining enough for you guys. Okay, who else do we have?
We have Julie Bruno.
That's great. I think the CLIP program is such a wonderful idea, and thank you so much, Chancellor, for bringing this to our attention. And thank you for coming to our meeting. Hopefully you found it somewhat interesting. Tell all your friends. Okay. Julie,
So,
welcome.
good morning again. President Estolano, Vice President Epstein, board members, Chancellor Oakley. First of all, I just want to say thank you again for allowing us to recognize the wonderful work that faculty are doing with our Hayward Awards and some of our other awards. We really, truly appreciate being able to bring it to you at the Board of Governors meetings and talk to you about our work. I'm actually here just to provide an invitation. Our Senate spring plenary is coming up in April. It's April 20th, 21st in San Mateo, 22nd as well, and that's our voting day on Saturday, which is always fun to watch. I would very much like to invite any and all of you to come and join us. Our theme this year, or this spring, is creating space for collective voice, dialogue, and discourse, and we have general sessions and breakouts planned on common assessment, diversity in hiring, supporting DACA students, accreditation, strong workforce program, basic skills, dual enrollment curriculum, and enrollment management, everything and anything you could ever want for our community colleges. So please come and join us. We'd love to have you. That's all I have. I know lunch is coming, so thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Okay, seeing the hour, we are going to take out of order the closed session. We're going to do that over lunch momentarily. I don't even see the number in here. Is there a number? There it is. There we go. We will be convening the closed session agenda over lunch. It will be, it's on the items that we will be discussing are listed in the agenda. So we'll likely be back at 12:45. You guys okay with that? Okay, all right. Thank you very much. We'll see you shortly.